What up, everybody? Zeta Zulu back at it again with another review for you. Today, we're kicking off the second part of my Mega Man X Chronicle Collection set of reviews with the D-Arts Mega Man X. Now, this figure was a reissue that I picked up from Big Bad Toy Store, and I think I got the last one. But this figure's original mold came out in about 2011, I believe, and they've remade it into a metallic, which was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, and a comic version from Japan, or a version of it based off a comic in Japan that was also I believe a Bandai Tamashii exclusive. And oh boy, this figure it's become so rare that I think on Amazon right now, if you were to look for him, he's about like 170. But if you were to pay that price, I would say it's worth it, because this is definitely one of the best X figures I have ever held, played with, and enjoyed. Like, he definitely has one of the most accurate sculpts, as in, like, let's bring him in. The head crest is nicely painted and detailed. The jewels, a clear translucent plastic on the inside of his ear things, the pink in the back of the head, like the light lavender on the chest is done real well. He just has this nice solid kind of sparkly, not really sparkly blue, but just this nice blue paint job all over him. And then his things like his thighs, upper arms, and waist are just done up in this nice light blue. So in his face, just has a lot of really good detail going on through it. Hold on, give me 1 second. Gonna focus in on his face, and you can just see all the good detail they have going in to one, I would say, one of the most game accurate face sculpts. So let's refocus now. Posability wise, this guy is pretty good. He has a double ball joint going on for his head, so it allows him to look up that far, look down that far, get a nice rotation out of it. The arms are in a big ball joint inside, so can rotate and wiggle, can go 360, can go out on the hinge until you pop off the shoulder armor. Just be careful about that. Just pegs right back in, as you saw I just did. Does have a rotation at the bicep. Now mine, I believe on this side, like the paint had kind of just sealed it kind of tight so it couldn't move. Just be careful when trying to wiggle it. Maybe get a hairdryer in there, loosen it up a little. I don't know. Now he does have a double jointed elbow, which gets you a little bit over 90 degrees and looks pretty good. And he has a double ball joint in his wrist, which allows it to wiggle and rotate as needed. Now, he has somewhat of a double ball joint in the chest. Mine is a little tight at the bottom, but you can get a nice rotation out of it. I would say you get 360, but I don't think you can. The legs can go forward, back a little, out a little, rotate at the thigh, and get a really nice double jointed knee, which would look even better if the leg cover stayed on, but still good. And then the feet are on a somewhat double ball joint, as you can see in there. This ball joint up there and a ball joint in the foot, and it's kind of curved and at an angle, so it popped off, but it just pegs right back in to the ball joint in there at that angle, so it can kind of give him like a natural sculpt, and you can get a really nice amount of ankle tilt out of it, so you can get a pretty wide stance. So this guy is amazingly posable for about a 5.5, 6 inch scale Mega Man X, and that's all you really need. Like, it looks real good, but would not be a Mega Man figure without some good accessories. So first off, we'll start with his interchangeable hands. He comes with 2 splayed open hands for either gesturing or cupping around his buster when it's equipped. And these pop on real quick, real easy. just gonna take off his forearm. That's for being able to swap on his buster. So you just pull it off the ball joint and then just peg it on. It's nice and solid. And then peg the arm back on. Actually helps straighten out the arm to peg it back in. And now he has a spread open hand, looking like he's giving command of the Maverick Hunters, which he eventually does get control. He eventually does become a commander of them. And now he has two alternate faces you can swap on. A open yelling face and a gritting his teeth face. Both these are really good, really well painted and detailed. Just look at those eyes. Those are beautiful. Now to swap that on, essentially you split his helmet at this seam line. I like to come behind like the ear bits and kind of just wiggle it until I can get my thumbnail in there. It's on there real good, so it takes a little bit of doing. There we go. Now we got it split. You pull the front of it off, and you just pull the face off and swap in the face you want. I'm gonna go for the grit in his teeth face. And just peg it in, peg the helmet back on. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now he looks like he's yelling at Vile for hurting his comrades. He's about to get in there and give him a nice good punch. But what's better than a punch, excuse me, is coming in there with his signature X-Buster. Now, this is done up really well and really nicely sculpted. Got a nice clear piece in there. And that plugs in by essentially removing his arm and pegging this bit into the hole in there, if you can see it. There we go. It's really simple. And like I said, it's best to just have his arms nice and straight. And voila. Now he's got his buster. And now he can basically give him to hold his buster like he's firing. But wait, there's even more with this guy. His buster comes with a separate nozzle piece, I want to say. And that's so that you can plug in blasting effect parts. So basically get at this tab right here and pull it out. And then you just line up the new one and plug it in. Really simple. Now there's a hole in the buster, which can be used with his 3 blast effect parts. Now, they can basically rotate here, and that's about it. That's about all the possibility you get out of it. But what you can do is essentially disassemble it a little bit and realign how you want the effect piece to go. So put it in here, and now you have a different shot configuration. So let's show off how to plug it in. It's a simple peg right there, which goes into the hole in his buster right there. And you just plug it in. And voila, now it looks like he's firing off his standard 3 shots that he gets in the game. And it looks really good. Now if that's all he came with, I would say that's amazing and that's fair. But you get one more buster effect part, and that's for his charge shot. And this thing is really well sculpted in this nice clear teal plastic, I want to say. It's really well done and well sculpted. And to plug that in, it's the same principle as the shots. Just take the shots off and then just plug it in to the buster. And it is definitely really heavy, so like it is a rough thing for him to hold, but if you get him posed right, he can do it. Now that's a lovely pose right there. And that's everything the X normal version comes with. But wait, there's more. In Bandai's genius, they gave us 2 armors for X. They gave us his full armor from X1 and his ultimate armor. And unfortunately, I don't have the full armor. I missed out on that when I had the chance to get it, and it's still too expensive for me to ever try to really hunt down affordably. But what I did get is the Ultimate Armor X. Now, this I have to say is definitely my favorite version of X in his armors and whatnot. Probably followed by like his Shadow Armor, which I would love them to release a version of that. But not everything can be perfect. This figure does have its flaws, and it's in his upper torso. It's real floppy, real shaky, and it's unfortunate because this figure is really cool and comes with a lot of nice posing options that make it a lot rougher to deal with if his body just flops over. And the sad part is, I have tried to tighten that joint with the stereotypical super glue method of take them apart, put a little bit of super glue in the hole, wait for it to dry, and put the chest back in. It just somehow got all loose all over again. So be warned, if you pick up this figure, its upper chest ball joint may come loose. Now, posability is basically the same as it was on X. You get the double ball jointed head, neck, shoulders on the big ball joint and the hinge. Same elbow setup as you saw with X. And same kind of swappable elbow gimmick. The cool thing was that you can basically swap pieces between the two figures. As you saw, the loose double ball joint, legs still go forward, still go back a little bit, go out to the side, rotate, and you still get the nice double bend at the knee. And the foot posability is all still there as well, so he is still just as good and just as posable. It's just hard to keep him in a pose like the normal DX Arts X. Can't speak today. Then, yeah, I believe I said the sentence I was trying to say. It's hard to get him to stay in a pose and stay a little bit, just because swabbles around, just touching it and just leaned back. But where this figure does still shine is in the accessories. Now, I'm not going to swap parts on, like hands and whatnot, but you still get 2 faces, now one looking left and yelling, one looking right and kind of disapproved. Actually, this is left looking and this is right and yelling at you. But these faces are all well and good, but the main things you come here for is the Buster, which looks amazing. Like, one thing that I do love about this figure is how all this clear plastic is used and painted underneath to really show off the details on the inside of this armor. And that's just so good. So beautiful. So let's swap on his Buster. It's simple as same dealie as X. Swap it on, swap it off, swap it on, and bam. Now he has his Buster on for the Ultimate Armor. Now, where this would essentially be the end for X outside of effect parts, Ultimate Armor X has a little bit more he can do. Now, just turn around to the back. We can remove his backpack and kind of bulk it out a little. So, we take these wing bits and add these to the sides, like so. Take this center bit, which looks a lot like the centerpiece that he has on his chest already, just a little bit bigger, and add that to the front. And now, it was originally posted like this. You can still put it on like that, but for what we're gonna do, which is his GIGA attack formation, you put it on his back like this, and then you add these little fins to the Buster. And this one goes on the bottom, like so. And this one goes on the top, like so. And now he's all armored up. and ready for his Giga attack, which is essentially him getting aerial. Let me reattach his arm. That is a slight problem with these figures. The arms do come off a bit too easy for my liking. He gets aerial and essentially does a nice good dash at the enemy for some high quality damage. And if you use cheat codes like I had done as a child to get this armor, you can basically do that infinitely and just cheese out bosses, which is really cool. And if that was it, this character would be awesome. But like his normal form counterpart, you can remove the barrel, or nozzle as I called it earlier. That was wrong. And replace it with one that has a hole, and he does come with an effect part. Now, this honestly kind of just looks like an energy drill, and you could use it as such, because that's what I would use it as. But it's kind of, I feel it's more reminiscent of him starting up his Giga attack, and this is just at the forefront, and this is what's creating the energy for him to just dash through enemies and whatnot. Real cool, real fun, real good. There goes his arm, and there goes a fin. But now the other thing you can do with these figures is, like I said, mix and match pieces for X to be wearing different bits of armor. Now, and that's just to replicate how you would find armor pieces throughout the games and like just be stuck with them until you found all of it. Now, X never had to find pieces of the Ultimate Armor individually, but he can still perform the gimmick, essentially by removing the feet bits and removing the arm bits, and essentially you could swap the head, but I'm not going to do that right now. So we're just going to bring in X real quick, remove his buster and his arm, and then remove the feet. As you can see, the base bodies have the same exact connections in their legs and in their arms, so this is why this works out as it does. So, just going to say X found a capsule with some Ultimate Armor leg pieces. And we'll say he found some capsules with the arm pieces. Let's do that. And now X is partway through to a transformation into his Ultimate Armor. And I would say it definitely looks really good on this body. Like the blues just hold up real nice and together. I definitely really like that. I know you can also like remove the like if you were to remove the upper body to kind of get the same arms and whatnot, it's doable. But actually, let's see what just Ultimate Armor looks like with just regular X limbs. Let's say X only found the body and head parts. Get these in there. Come on. Come on, it's not that hard. Get in there. That's weird. Doesn't want to go in. But we can fudge it by just putting the arms on. And there we go. No need to fudge it at all. So now we have two instances of how you can play a game, and one X got the leg and arms first, the other X got the body and head first. Now let's end this review with some nice comparisons to the two X's I reviewed the other day. So first we have Jazzwire's X version 1, who definitely towers over them. Like, even if they're standing like fully straight, he towers over them, but not by a lot. I'd say maybe half a head. And now let's see what the Jazzwares version 2, which he kind of just looks like a bigger version of the D-Arts, maybe like a bigger knockoff D-Arts, if that's what you would want to call it. But yeah, that was the D-Arts X's, and I still regret not having the third one, the full armor version, to share with you guys, but these are definitely amazing pickups. If you can find them for a really good price, like I'm not a fan of people paying $170 for these guys, like on Amazon or even more on eBay, but if you can find them for like $60 to $80, I would say go for it. They are definitely worth it, and if you're a fan of Mega Man X, they need to be in your collection. Now, this is Zeta Zulu, signing out. Deuces.